All right. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Hey, Devin. Good morning to you.
What up, man?
How you doing? All right. Yeah. So my name is Kyle Alexander. I'm super excited to be here. I just recently joined Sub2 only a couple of weeks ago. But just to give you a quick background on myself, I've been investing and studying real estate. Joined a couple different groups over the past like year and a half about. And so far, my wife and I, we've been able to secure one flip property in Chicago. And we actually just closed on a triplex in Baltimore like this past Monday. So that was a big deal. And that's going to be a rooming house. So that's its own thing. We have two Airbnb arbitrage investments that we have that just started a couple months ago. So we're still navigating those. And like I mentioned in the post, we've been able to utilize business credit to get basically between the two of us like over 300,000 in business credit cards. So that is what kind of brings us here today. I mentioned also that I'm a personal development coach. Essentially, been studying under Eric Thomas, who's like a really great motivational speaker. But he has a program to kind of break down personal development preferences and things like that. And I've been kind of coaching people. So I won't talk about that today, but hopefully at another time, we can dive into that. But I wanted to give just a quick overview of my understanding, and I won't take too long before we kind of get into some question answer. But I've been talking to some people in Sub2 so far, which, man, you guys are awesome. I just love love this community, and I was surprised that it seemed like some people weren't aware of some of the business credit like opportunities or what's out there. So I just figured I would just do something just to share what I know, and see if it helps at all. So basically, what I wanted to share is there are two paths basically to business credit, and one is based on your EIN, which is completely separate from your personal, right? And this is what I understand as Prime Corporate Services and everything that they are focusing on building up. This is your business has its own credit history, its own reputation. You're building that up from scratch to the point where you can get lines of credit. You can start to get big money from banks unsecured, and they're basing it on your business, right? So it has nothing to do with your personal. The other path is the personal guarantee side of life, which means that you are using your personal credit to qualify you for business credit. But the kicker is it doesn't show up on your personal credit report. So if I have, for example, if I have a business credit card for $10,000, for example, I personally guaranteed it, which means if I default on the money and totally mess up, that's the only time where it falls on me personally. But aside from that, I can utilize 9,500 of that 10,000, and it has no effect on my personal utilization. My personal credit score doesn't change at all. It's completely separate, right? So this to me is the big thing, because if you have decent personal credit, and the first program that I joined, I like I said, I've kind of paid for different programs over the past year. The first one that I joined, the minimum was 680. So if you have a 680 credit score or above, they're able to basically, on your behalf, navigate the process with the bank and basically get credit cards for you on that, using different strategies to get the credit card for you, basically. So, and on that first pass, I was able to get like 50,000 or something like that. And then I did it again for my wife. And some of these companies, like for example, they charge a percentage of whatever they got you. So if I got 50,000 and they charge basically 9 or 10%, that would mean my cost would be $5,000 to them in order to help me obtain that credit. And they actually charge the credit on one of the business credit cards. So, and mind you, these credit cards are 0% promotion periods. So basically what happened is for that first round that I did, I got around $50,000. Let's say I owed 5,000. One of those went on the business credit card, but I have to only pay 1% as a monthly fee, essentially, which is like the minimum payment to cover that. But there's no interest for 12 months, you know? So this is kind of the power of that. And I would just say to navigate both of those paths at the same time, I think is something important, because the personal guarantee side can be a quick situation. As far as if you have decent credit now, you could either pursue some of this stuff yourself and just literally start applying, navigate yourself. There's information on YouTube, all this stuff. I know people that do that and just are just kind of chipping away and applying for different cards and know how to manage that with your credit. The only thing I will say on the personal side, as you're doing it, they do check your credit with hard pulls as you're applying. So that's the one thing that does show up. But the strategy is essentially you apply for a certain number at the same time, you get kind of this one thing, and then you go through a process of removing the inquiries, because basically the inquiry is only allowed to really stay on your report if it results in a personal credit line, right? So technically, even though they checked your credit and it resulted in a business credit card or credit line, it doesn't show up on your personal credit. So you can actually request to have that inquiry removed. You can do that within a couple months or something like that, and then basically be ready to, start again with applying for new credit cards. And this process kind of repeats over and over. So like I said, so those two paths are the thing that I think are pretty critical to just understand and know what the opportunity is. It's possible to build both at the same time. So, and like I said, the EIN side is really important. You're getting these different accounts, Uline and Quill and all these different things that you've probably heard of. The Paydex score, that's like that EIN side, but the personal side is very accessible. And if you don't have that credit, then the first move is just really do what you need to do to start building up your personal credit. And there are strategies to boost that and raise that. And there's people that I follow on YouTube and elsewhere that you can do that, but it's just something to kind of jump in and definitely start right away. So I'm going to pause my explanation right now and open up for any questions, and I guess just see where this goes, if there's any gaps in what I explained. And Devin, I see you had a question as far as your DTI, debt to income ratio. My understanding is that on the business side, like a credit balance is not necessarily showing up on your personal credit report. So if they're not asking for it, then it doesn't come up. Because I just purchased, like I said, we just closed on a property this past Monday. So that they didn't ask anything about my credit card balances. They only asked about what is in my bank accounts and et cetera, and my personal, anything that's on my personal report. So if I have like a balance on my HELOC, for example, they want to know that, and that's a part of the debt to income ratio. But anything on my business credit cards, they don't know that. So here's the other key is, and let me let in someone else. Here's the other key is that to use these 0% cards, there are ways to liquidate the cards. So I got the amounts off of the cards and into my bank account. Now that's money that's sitting in my bank account, my business account, that I'm actually showing to the lenders. If you let it sit for 2 months or so and kind of season it, and the last two statements that you send basically are showing that, is showing those funds there. Now the lender is able to pre-qualify me for more because that money basically came from those credit cards, and I can either let the money sit there and pay the credit cards off with that same money in order to build a good relationship with them and be able to qualify for more money next time when it's time to do either an increase or something like that. So yeah, so like I said, and Devin, I hope that answers that question. I want to go ahead and open it up for any questions or anything like that. And then if there's anything else that I think of to just kind of explain, then I can. But feel free to everybody just unmute and we can just talk. Or you can raise your hand, that's fine. Alexis? No, I can't hear you. You're unmuted, but maybe something's not connected. I don't know if it's the, the headphones or. All right, Devin, you want to go ahead while she's getting that?
Sure. So when we're saying business credit,
Yeah.
is that just credit cards in your business name?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And the difference, my understanding of the difference again is like a line of credit. You can get a line of credit from a bank, which is really the target place you want to be, because once you build things up properly, you can get like $100,000 and you don't have to like liquidate it like you would with a card. There's certain things you have to do to figure out how to liquidate a credit card. With a line of credit, you just say, hey, I need 40,000 and you just pull it out.
Right.
And you're paying on it. So that's really the place to be. That's the EIN side. You need to build it up. There's different strategies as far as like, you need to make sure your business looks really good on paper. You know what I mean? If you guys haven't, I don't know who's like involved with Prime Corporate Services or any company that's like building your EIN stuff, but there's these strategies that are really critical as far as like how you look when they look you up is really important. Does it look like a legit business? Because if you think about it from their perspective, it's like, if I'm going to lend money to you, if I lend the money, are you going to go out of business 2 weeks from now? You know what I mean? They want to know that. So it's like, if I look you up on Google, do I see it? Do you have a website? Is there a phone number that looks the same and that looks legit? Is there a business email? You know what I mean? Is this what's the address of this business? Is this like a legit place or is it just some random thing? You know what I mean? So it's like all this different stuff that you want to look at and make sure at least it's out there. Is it listed on 411? There's all these different things, you know, that what like the bank is looking for, again, for that EIN side. But you don't necessarily have to have any of that built up. You can just literally have an LLC and personal guarantee to get the credit cards quickly. So it's like quick strategy, longer strategy. And that's what I'm saying. I think you can kind of tackle both at the same time. Okay. Alexis, are you back? Yeah, no problem.
Kyle, can you hear me all right now?
Yes, we're live. Hi.
Awesome. Thank you so much for hosting this first and foremost. I'm really excited.
Yeah, no problem.
I opened an LLC about a month ago. I got my checking account opened, but when I wanted to open my credit account, they told me that I needed a little bit more time with the business opened and they need to see cash flow. First of all, what's the best way to go about that? And second of all, where should I go and get that first business credit card?
Yep. So this is the thing. And what was the bank?
It was Fairwind. It was a credit union.
Oh, credit union. Okay. Yep. So that's what I was saying about, you have to kind of evaluate how much time you have and what type of effort you want to put in, because all the information is out there. You could literally search on YouTube for, okay, which banks do I start with to get credit cards at 0%?
Okay.
And you can start reaching out to those banks and do the different stuff. You know what I mean? And I don't know if the line of credit that they were offering you, was this a traditional line of credit or was it a business credit card? You know what I mean? So
business credit card, yeah.
Yeah, because those would have different implications as far as what you need. Some people do want to see, okay, you in business for a certain amount of time and doing all this stuff. But that's kind of the benefit of either looking up that information on YouTube, or there's companies that already know which banks to take you to. And just literally go and call them on your behalf and set it up and basically hand you the accounts that will approve you for 0%, will approve you for, you know, even though your business just opened. Okay. There's certain banks that are more friendly to that. So these companies that know that, they know who to go to directly, they have the relationship, they have the strategy, and then just go and knock it out. But like I said, I know people that you can totally tackle it yourself without paying somebody to do that, but those are kind of the options.
Okay, so basically I can either do some research, go out and do the work myself, or I can get a company who already has the connections. Yes.
And again, the research, it may not be that hard to find it, but you will have to navigate, okay, what is it, you know, calling and having a conversation and setting it up. You know what I mean? Like I said, you have to just evaluate what kind of time and money that you have. Just to be transparent from the front, the amounts that I have paid, like I said, it's been two ways as far as what I pay for this service. One, you're paying a percentage of whatever they get you, which is usually around 9 or 10%. So if they get you 30,000, that means you're paying 3,000, maybe less if it's 9%, obviously.
Okay.
The other way that I found is a flat fee. And the flat fee
Okay.
for the company that I use was 4,000 basically. And they will do 3 rounds of funding for you across a whole year. My first round of funding, and they let me and my wife join in as partners. And I think you can bring in a partner as well. The first round of funding between me and my wife was
Mhm.
like 80,000 each. So
Wow.
like 160,000 on the first round, and I paid 4,000 to do it. So if I had taken the percentage route, I wouldn't have had any upfront cost, but it
Mhm.
would have cost me $18,000. You know what I mean, to
Yep.
do that route. So that's what I've found so far. But again, like I said, I know people that kind of kill it and crush it on their own and can kind of strategize and do different things. You know, I guess the only downside of going with a company like that, almost like with anything, it's like if they have a system, so you have to kind of step into their system, and
Mhm.
you can't just go outside and kind of do your own stuff. You know what I mean? Because they have their timelines, they have their things, which is all legit. But as I'm in this process, I hear stuff from these other people all the time. And it's like, oh, you can do this, apply for these and do that. And I'm like, I can't do that right now because I'm in here. But it's not, I can't complain because they did a good job at getting a lot of stuff for me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Is there a company that you recommend or that you prefer that I should work with starting out?
Yep. So, and that's what I was going to say is that the company that I'm using right now is called Fund and Grow. And they so far they've done a good job at doing what I've described to you. They've done a good job at doing what I described, and I just full transparency, because I'm a customer, I have an
Mhm.
affiliate link with them that you guys can use. If you don't want to do that, you can just go straight to the site and check it out. And the third thing is where I signed up from, there's a guy named Chris Haskins. I don't know if you know him on YouTube. I actually did a YouTube podcast about on this topic with him. He had me on. But if you go to his link, I think there might be more of a discount because of their relationship. So those are the options as far as that. But I know that there are other companies that do this type of thing. That's just the one that I happen to use. And it seems like they have a pretty good system.
Okay. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, and also I would definitely highly recommend on YouTube to look up Terry Cowser, Terri. I'm going to put in the chat. Terry Cowser is like just that go-giver spirit, like a really good spirited person, and just sharing all of the info that you could possibly want. You know what I mean? Pretty like for free. And then she has programs or like communities you can join or different stuff, but like all the information is there if you want to sit through the YouTubes as far as like, okay, these are things you can do to maximize your personal credit or your business credit. And she also talks about other stuff, but it's just somebody that I found kind of resonates well as far as like having that spirit that I think we're all familiar with being here in sub 2 as far as with pace and stuff like that.
Yep. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Marcia.
Yes, sir. Well, we did this same situation when we first started about a year and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so we kind of had the same experience of, well, we want to give you business credit, but you haven't been in business long enough. And I'm like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we did our personal credit, and we paid the fee and did that. So they gave us they got us the $25,000 credit card,
Mm-hmm.
and it killed our personal credit.
Yes.
I mean, like we went from like 770 to our other cards, our regular, personal cards, cutting our limits and and closing our accounts even. So how do we I mean,
so let me,
before we even used the 25, I mean, we had $25,000 available, and I was like, well, we should just pay all of you other companies off and not even use you if you're going to be that way.
Yeah. And let me just clarify. So you were looking to do business credit, but
Mhm.
they said the business wasn't old enough, basically.
Right.
Age of the business wasn't right. So so you ended up getting a personal credit card.
Right.
And then you started using the personal credit card for various things, or investment or otherwise.
Right.
So yeah, and so this is the huge difference, right? So, and
Yeah.
this is kind of what I was telling Alexis, is it
Yeah.
is possible that somebody would say to you, hey, I want your business to be 2 years old, 6
Right.
months old, a year old, and have this amount of income or whatever before I give you anything. But
Right.
there are banks out there that will give it to you based on your 770, or totally would give you $10,000 credit card or $20,000 credit. So if you know what those banks are, then you can reach out to them. But the companies that do this, they have all of those contacts listed and they know who they're going to target based on your
Right.
situation. So that, and though, like I said in the beginning, that balance, if I have that, which I do have, that $25,000 credit card,
Uh-huh.
I can run up 24,000, 25,000 even on it. The balance is on there. On the
Right.
personal side, that would destroy my credit score,
Yeah.
right? Which is what you were saying. On the
Right.
business side, it's separate. So even though
Right.
you personally guaranteed it, the business credit card doesn't show up on your personal, unless there are a few banks, and I think it's Capital One is one of them. Their
Mhm.
business credit card reports to both personal and business.
Oh.
So it's like
Okay.
some of those things that you just want to learn about and be aware of, so
Right.
that you might think you're doing business credit only, but they're actually reporting to both and it's showing up.
Right.
So you
Right.
want to just be mindful of it. There's only a few like that, but that's the type of stuff that you want to know. And either you start to research that to figure it out, or like I said, you can kind of go with a company that can kind of walk you through it, turnkey it for you, and you can learn at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is exact situation. It's like, man, I have a ton of balances on these cards that I have, but there's no impact on my personal credit. My personal
Yeah.
credit is impacted by my HELOC, because my HELOC is based on my house. That's all
Right.
personal side. So the moment I put a balance on there, now it's affecting my overall utilization of all my cards.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And the score might fluctuate and stuff like that. But business credit side, once you do it, and that's why it might be difficult, because you would think, okay, I'm with the bank or I'm with a company that's telling me, you know, what I need, but you might not know that there's other banks out there that would give you, you know, based on your credit score and based on the fact that you just literally have an LLC, there's some banks that will give you business credit on that.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Thanks. All right. Anybody else have any other question or anything that can be explained? If you want me to, I'll put this link in there. Like I said, full transparency. It's an affiliate link. That'll at least give you the site. If you just want to go straight there, do your own research. And like I said, I think there is a further discount on that Chris Haskins thing. If you want, I think it's like $500 less maybe. So if that's your spot and you need that, but just want to make sure everybody's clear on that. Okay, Alex.
Hey, good morning. How's it going?
Hey, good.
Good. So I missed the beginning, sorry. So I don't know if this question was already answered, but is there a difference between like doing transactional lending through like a business credit card versus a line of credit, or is it
Well,
the same thing?
I don't have the full answer to that. When that came up, somebody asked it on the last Gator lending thing, and Pace said there's ways to do it with both. And that was something that I was wondering, because most of my credit is a personal guarantee. So that's why it's like, I'm aware of the EIN, line of credit side of life. I just don't have as much of that built up, just because I'm still working on it. The personal guarantee side of the credit cards is the stuff that I've gotten a decent amount. So, but Pace said that there's ways to do it with both.
Cool, thanks.
Yep. Okay, anybody else? Is this making sense? And is it, let me know what's going on.
So when somebody was talking about the banks. I actually never thought about it. There's like, you go to the bank and ask for a business credit card, and they tell you, no, your business hasn't been running for long. So I haven't experienced that. So I went to Wells Fargo and a Bank of America, and the age of the business didn't seem to matter.
Yep.
Maybe because I have our personal accounts of them for a while,
Mhm.
so they didn't even question. I don't know if this is something that most banks require, that your business has been running for a while or not, but we didn't encounter this with Wells Fargo. Maybe it's just because we had our bank account, personal bank account of them.
And that's a great point, because I think that the thing to know here is that different banks do approach it differently.
Right.
And if you know what that full list of banks is and have the capacity to reach out to them, then you have more of a chance to actually get more out of it. But it is a good point that you do have a leg in when you have a relationship with the bank already.
Right.
A personal account, you know, a credit card or something like that. That's something that they can kind of verify. Even better, if you have a personal relationship inside the physical bank branch with the people that are there, that can actually give you a leg up as well, because somebody might be more open to helping you. And that also probably plays a bigger part when it comes time to get the bigger lines of credit, the EIN side of the business. But it only benefits you if you have something already. Like if you have an Amex already, then they're more inclined to be more friendly with you when it comes to granting you an Amex business credit card.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all of that stuff definitely comes into play. But that's it's a big point, because again, like we were talking about with Marcia, as soon as you run into that first roadblock, it seems like, oh, okay, well, I can't do this at all.
Yeah.
And my business has to be of a certain age, but that's not the case across the board. You just got to know where to go to do that. And I have there's a deeper level to that, because some banks only pull from a certain credit bureau. So some people will stack the bureau itself and do all of that at the same time. So it's like, if I know Bank of America and Citizens Bank and these banks do only TransUnion, then I know I can apply for a bunch of TransUnion at once, but another bank might only be checking Experian. So then I know I have a list of banks that I can do a bunch at once only on Experian. You know, and like I said, with either if you're taking it on by yourself or going with a company, the strategy is you have a round where you're gaining as much as you can at one time. And then there's a period where the accounts are being seasoned. You know, you're using as much of the credit as you can and paying off as much as you can. And that establishes a good relationship with the bank. And at the same time, you are removing those inquiries from your credit report.
Yeah.
Because again, legally, if it didn't result in a line of credit or in something on your personal, then it isn't supposed to stay on there. So you can actually request to have it removed.
Right.
So they pulled your credit to get but it ended up as a business line, which is separate from you. So you don't have another personal credit account. So now you can actually get that removed. And the companies, that either you can sign up with somebody that can help you do that, or you can totally reach out yourself if you take the time to navigate that, or you send letters or make calls, or, you know, there's strategies you can use. And there's people that will teach you that how to navigate that, like I said, for free on YouTube, or the company that can guide you through the process or physically do it for you.
Right. And that's what PCS does for us as well, right?
I believe so. Now, I haven't signed up with PCS yet, so I'm learning more about what they do. And my understanding is their focus is, like I said, it's probably the better side of it, is that EIN only side, has no connection to your personal. It's got much bigger money, a much bigger upside. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars in lines of credit that you don't have to liquidate. That side is, I believe that's what they're focusing on. But I just hadn't heard anything about whether they were doing the personal guarantee business credit cards, because there's an advantage to those as well.
Right.
Yeah.
I was just debating, because I mean, we are with them already we open our LLCs, everything with them, and we're doing tax with them, but we haven't, we had we schedule and we talk to them about it, but then I was debating if I should pay the, I think is about 2,000 for that as well or not. So that's something
Okay.
still deciding. Yeah.
Yep, yep. And obviously, I mean, with things like that, you do want to consider like the upside, and especially if you have something that you plan to use it for. If you have some moves that you can make, if you had it, then it's like, if you're going to pay somebody 2,000, but they're going to be able to get you 20,000 or
Mhm.
50,000 or something like that, and you have a way that you're going to use it to actually make money from that, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Then
Yeah.
it's all worth it, you know? So
Yeah, that's the same thing when I went to the bank, because she said, I mean, we could get these credit cards, the business credit cards right away almost, and zero interest for, I think one bank was 9 months, the other one was
Mhm.
18 months, but only if you have something in mind. Otherwise, you're wasting that
the time,
interest-free every month that you
yes,
don't have something that already
yes,
planned to use the money.
yes, yes. And I think that if I had to go back, I would be more strategic about that, you know, because I did have things that I you know, moves that I made, part of the purchase, you know, everything that I've done so far, the
Mhm.
business credit has been a part of that. So I've definitely used it, but the timeline, I don't know if I thought, okay, I need to do it right now, or I could have just waited until I
Yeah.
was really, really ready and then just went back and said, okay, now I'm ready to start. And then now start my 12 months or my 9 months or my 15, you know? So yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
good strategies.
thank you.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Okay, anybody else have any questions or anything to clear up on this? All right. If not, then I will go ahead. I won't delay it. You know, I'll come back and, you know, if there's anything else to clear up, I'll post this recording on my on the post on the Facebook group, just so anybody can catch up on it. And hopefully these are kind of the main general questions that somebody would have. But if there's anything else, either I can schedule another Zoom or answer some questions. And like I said, I'm looking forward to also going through the personal development stuff that I know about, sharing it with you guys. Some really, really, I think, useful information and useful like data, like to see something on paper to just really, you know, get you thinking about like how you show up. It's really useful. But I definitely appreciate it. Great meeting some of you and seeing faces. And looking forward to interacting with you more, and also just hoping to get to know you guys and know what your goals are and stuff like that. I mean, that's definitely it's a part of my heart, just like a lot of us, I think, to be able to add value and to help, you know. So looking forward to meeting you guys going forward as well. So thanks a lot. So nothing else. I know somebody just jumped in. Nick just jumped in, but might have to catch the
Hey.
recording. Hey Nick. how
Yeah,
you-
sorry, I got really tied up this morning.
No,
I was hoping
it's
it was
all
being
good.
recorded because I definitely want to watch. So I
It's
thought
all
I'd hop
good,
in
yeah.
and see.
I'll,
Okay,
I'll
perfect.
put up the recording as soon as I can. If there's any outstanding questions after you watch it, then you know, let me know. And if like I said, if we need to do another Zoom or something like that, then I can I can schedule that.
Okay, perfect. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for recording it.
Oh yeah, no problem, no problem. All right, everybody. So last call. Anything else? All right. If not, then I will see you guys. Have a great day. Have a great weekend, and I'll be seeing you in the group.
All right. Thanks, man.
All right.